All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another One Piece chapter review. 1141, titled Older Women. This chapter was not about no older women, fellas. How are we feeling about this week's chapter?
I saw it coming. Luffy needs to learn how to listen to some people. Like, I feel like this is a lesson that he just needs to learn the hard way. Like, everyone's saying, hey, this dude bad news, this dude bad news. But he's just like, I just feel like, and I feel like it's not going to work out this time. And it's going to be his fault.
Riddell.
I mean, are we surprised? It's freaking Luffy. He just does whatever he wants. That's just the type of character he is. I do think there needs to be sometimes there needs to be consequences. I'm not gonna lie, Loki kind of needs to punch him in the mouth for this. Like, you didn't even think about it. Like, Zoro was like, to be fair, Zoro was the voice of reason consistently, and actually Zoro finally made the okay. But if Zoro wasn't there, Luffy would have just done it blindly. We wouldn't even thought about it. With that said, Loki, man, that dude is big as hell, boy.
So when you look at him in his reveal, I was like, okay, he's a giant, sure, right? He looks big. Him standing up, I was like, whoa, he's like big. He's super fucking big. I haven't felt this way about a reveal since like Kaido. When Kaido was first revealed, he looked massive. Loki has to be like 3 times his size.
At least.
Yeah, he looks so much bigger than even like Hodgdon.
Yeah.
You see him Belto, like, bro, he's like 3 times your size right there. I'm like, damn. Why does this dude so big?
Royal blood, man.
Big as fuck. He has his hammer called Ragnir. The translation for that in English is Iron Thunder. So we're looking at like this might be Thor. It might be Loki with a devil fruit with Thor's hammer. That's where we're at.
Okay, kind of mixed the mythologies a little bit. I see the vision. I'm not mad at it.
He saw too many Avenger movies. He's like, you know what? Let's just put it together.
He was locked in. I will say this though. When I went back and looked at some images of Loki, you actually see the weapon the entire time. It's always been there. It's just never been a focus. Like for the thumbnail that I created, you can see his weapon behind him while he's chained. You just don't. It's not a focus, so you're not going to like, oh. But no, his weapon has been behind him the entire time, and it's kind of interesting. Like when Oda does stuff like that, where it's like it's in plain sight, you just are not focused on it right there.
Sure.
Now, do you think it has like? I'm assuming it has some type of special power, but do you think it's like it has a devil fruit of its own?
At this point, I don't know. What I wanted to ask y'all is, what do y'all think happens from here? Because I know everybody's a little high on Loki. He's already hurt. I think Luffy's gonna beat that ass. He's big. That's cool. He has the sea stone still cuffed to one of his ankles, and he's already hurt. I think Luffy's gonna sit that ass back now.
So what I think what's gonna happen is Luffy's still not gonna take it seriously at first. I think Luffy might get ready to hurt him, but like Loki kind of just like gets away. And then while they're chasing him, they probably run into like the celestial dragons, while Loki's also wrecking havoc in another area or whatever. So I think it's just gonna be a clusterfuck.
All right. I don't think this needs to be a battle, but I can see it becoming a battle, of course, because I mean, I don't even know why Loki would be on smoke. These dudes' freedom. I'm more curious on the interaction between Hodgdon and Loki, because we got that way sooner than I expected. Of course, Hodgdon being the son of the former king, Loki being the one who killed him, of course, or killed him, quote unquote. That interaction is what's more fascinating to me. And honestly, what I could see happening, I don't know next chapter, but eventually is a backstory between Hodgdon and Loki as kids. I think that will shine a lot of light, of course, in terms of what actually happened back then. But figuring out the story between Loki and Hydrogen probably takes priority until we get to the God Knights destroying everything and wreaking havoc. So that I'm thinking potentially a backstory is in the works. Maybe there's some friction beforehand. Hydrogen and Loki go at it, and then you go in the backstory. So that's kind of my vision.
For sure. It could be one of those situations where it's like Hadra Dean's kind of like mad that Loki's free after Loki kind of put the belt to ass to all of them. We kind of get the understanding, other than the Herald stuff, why they've been so adamant about keeping him chained up all this time, or at least not trusting him at the very least before chaining him up. I wanted to do a pivot. Loki was like the focal point of the chapter. We get some of that information about the Atom Tree, right? And how its only weaknesses are fire and lightning. The moment I heard lightning, one, I thought Enel. That was my immediate thought. I was like, this set the stage for him to come back. And then it brought me back to that mural from 2 chapters ago, where it shows on the second world that it was prophesized that this tree would get destroyed. How much importance do you think this tree will kind of hold in the future of this Elbaf arc?
I think it's gonna be significant, especially if NL somehow comes back in Elbaf. I feel like it's just gonna be on top. It's just gonna add on to like Luffy taking an L. Not that he's gonna like lose directly to NL, but I think if NL shows up with Loki rampaging with the Celestial Dragons, it's just gonna be too much for Luffy to handle at once, and it's gonna end up being bad. But in terms of the tree, hot take, I think I think their ship gets destroyed again.
Wow.
That's kind of nuts. I'm gonna be
I
honest.
think their ship gets destroyed again, and they need a final ship. So
Miles, are you able to pull up the panel that you're referring to on your end, or do you want me to pull it up?
You're muted, Miles.
Oh, if you want to do it, you can. But I was actually I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay, you got it.
Another reason why I think, real quick, another reason why I think Sling's gonna happen with the ship is because like just seeing Frankie talk about like, oh yeah, the wood's expensive, yada yada. Like just seeing like Frankie talk about it, it's like he's the ship maker. It's what he does, and he hasn't really been relevant in a minute. Even when he was in Egghead, I don't feel like he did enough. So I feel like this would him having to like either add on to the ship with that wood or build another ship or something along that nature. I feel like that kind of would make sense.
It would be kind of crazy to me if the ship got destroyed again. I'll be honest, but I could definitely see a modification of the ship for sure with the new material. With that said, I went back and looked at the mural that Miles is about to pull up, and yeah, there's a very clear image of the ship that we're suspecting Enel to come back from the moon from, throwing lightning at the tree. So there's some huge implications there. My thing is, I believe that a big part of what's going to happen to this tree for this arc, at the very least, is one of the God Knights are going to have a lightning or fire-based ability. My guess, of course, is the kind of dragging-looking dude with the clouds. I mean, the expectation is he might have some type of storm-based ability. Could be lightning-based. It could be a mythical Zoan of a mythical creature that uses lightning-based abilities. So, and that will heavily affect the tree and make things very hard on everybody. So that's my kind of expectation as of right now, that he's going to ruin things a lot for the people and cause a lot of disruption that will enable them to kidnap the giant kids for sure. So that's where my mind is going at.
Jesus.
Maz, you good?
Yeah, this is extremely hard to find. Riddell, I'm also with you. I think Enel coming back is like the craziest possible thing that could happen. More than likely, though, I think the Celestial Dragons are going to incorporate the tree into their game. I said it in my breakdown on TikTok. maybe it'll be kind of like a race against the clock where they light multiple of the villages on fire and they kind of like gotta rush around saving people, right? You're not really able to prioritize fighting and combat when people's lives are at stake. But if Eno comes back, that'll be insane. Hockey's a beautiful thing, so the fight may not look how it looked the first time, where Luffy's just immune to all of his attacks. Luffy's gonna actually have to pay a little bit of respect to Eno this time around. So that would be pretty cool.
And I mean, they might even play with the idea. I mean, sure, he could be a Logia that awakens. I mean, Logias, as of right now, we haven't seen the full capabilities of an awakened Logia. I mean, there's only speculation at this point with Akainu and Kizaru, Akainu and Aokiji having the fight that happened on that island. But other than that, like, we haven't really seen the full capabilities of what a Logia awaken can really do on the battlefield against top tier opponents. So maybe NL's lightning fruit can be comparable to a mythical Zoan, or maybe he is a mythical Zoan because he doesn't look like a normal human in the first place. So he could have a mythical Zoan human fruit like Buddha, a different type of Buddha that uses lightning abilities. Or there's a mythical lightning deity or lightning and thunder deity that have those drums. I forget what they're called. He could have that type of fruit, which would be crazy, but it would be on. It would make a lot of sense considering the design of an elk, because he doesn't really look like other people. He doesn't look like a normal human. So I could definitely see that him having a mythical Zoan to make him comparable in some of these fights that he's going to be in with people like Luffy, for example.
Oh, real quick, what's the left hand of Roger's name? The guy.
Oh, Gabon.
I feel like because what you were saying, Miles, earlier, like how they might like light the different areas on fire. Mm-hmm. So if Elbaf, in all purposes, like falls, which means Luffy failed what he said, because he said if Elbaf survives, like come find me. if they fall, say something like, say his kid gets kidnapped, his wife might die, or whatever. That's gonna be interesting interaction, because I feel like with Luffy's next probably training arc or whatever, he's going to be involved somehow. Sure. But it's also going to be like, you failed me. You failed my family, failed Elbaf. And I don't know, like, because Luffy, besides losing Ace, he hasn't really had a big L like that, unless you want to count Wano. But it's like, in terms of like utter failure, if he like utterly fails, it's going to be interesting for Luffy's character.
It is. This is not pushback, but I don't like Gabon. I don't like Scopper because I just don't understand the significance in you leaving when it seems like he has some sort of indication that something is going to happen.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows something's happening. So for him to be like, "Oh yeah, I'll see y'all later. If y'all do handle it, come find me though." You're a fucking dick. Rayleigh would not do that. Rayleigh would stick around and help out. So you being as strong as you are, we know he has Conqueror's Haki now. You'd be a great help to this situation. Why are you leaving? So yeah, I hope Luffy and company don't fail, but I'm with you, Lonnie. They kind of need to. I believe it was you who was on board with me last arc, where we were very high on them failing, and Riddell kind of pointed it out to me. In a roundabout way, they kind of did lose, but it wasn't the failure that we were looking for. I'm talking like devastating defeat. I'm talking like Sabaody level, like there's nothing we can do, we lost type of vibe. So I'm hoping Elbaf kind of provides that. Riddell, could you bring the mural back up?
Got you.
So the point of emphasis is over here now. It looks like the lightning's hitting the tree. So that's kind of like the prophesized event happening. Don't know what the fuck all this stuff is over here. Don't know what that has to do with the elephant and Emu and all of that. But the lightning hitting the tree is definitely prophesized. And then on the other side, Loki does team up with whoever this iteration of Joy Boy was. Oopsie. So it's bound to happen. It looks like everything is playing out as this mural is kind of telling us. Mm-hmm. So we're possibly going to get the rest of this stuff on the side in future chapters. But yeah, the tree being in the middle, it must be very important.
I was going to say, I've been hearing a lot that dragon thing on the side, on the other side, that's not dragon. People are saying that's
this.
Yeah, people are saying that's Blackbeard, because he has like a similar design on his arm. You get to see it first when he first meets Luffy. He has like a tattoo on his arm that like resembles that.
Yeah, I saw someone else say that the tattoo resembled dragons. So a lot of people are trying to match tattoos to some of these creatures. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion yet, so I don't know what they plan to do because these two dragons are obviously battling it out.
Yeah.
So I think that is Dragon and Blackbeard, because I think Dragon is the dragon on top. But yeah, apparently like Blackbeard on his arm has like the exact like tattoo of that, or like of that design. So
yeah, there's just too much going on.
There's a lot going on. For me, when it comes to what could happen in Scopper, I think Scopper, how I could see it is, one, Scopper fought Luffy and Zoro. So I think he has a good gauge on how strong they are and how capable they are. Like if Scopper fought the version that Rayleigh met, he probably definitely would have known they're going to fail and they're going to lose. So I think he would have acted a little different, but also he wouldn't have given them the key if they couldn't stop Loki if Loki went on a rampage. So he probably has a good sense there. How I imagine it is that it's potentially they could lose, right? The kids are getting taken, but one of those kids that potentially could be taken is Scopper's kid. I can see a situation where they're leaving and then Scopper stops them because they're about to leave with the kids. But that raises the question, if once they fail and Scopper kind of cleans up the mess and gets the kids back, will he accept the Straw Hats for losing? Or depending on the decision they had to make, maybe they made the right decision in that current moment to save more people. I don't know. It's a very interesting situation when it comes to Scopper. The only way this kind of works out is absolute victory for the Straw Hats. But does that undermine the God Knights the moment they first appear, that they lose? We got
it kind of would, because like we see the Gorosei all together and like they technically won, but it wasn't like a clear diff, if that makes sense. Like I don't think the Gorosei really gained that much aura with like their introduction in terms of fighting. And so like if you go from that into like now the Holy Knights, they don't really move us either in terms of power. And it's like, what's really this opposition? If like the main powers of this opposition besides Emu aren't really doing anything significant, aren't really causing like serious problems for the main cast, it kind of takes away from the lesser side.
I'm with Lonnie. It very greatly depends on their portrayal. Luffy 1v5 the Gorosei. Nobody in the Straw Hats had to even help him. I think Zoro intercepted one of them once. And that was the swordsman. Other than that, Luffy pretty much handled them 1v5. Granted, he didn't damage them or anything like that, but he definitely was able to stall them and keep them at bay. I'm hoping these God Knights are more like actual combatants, right? I can give the elders a pass, immortal beings. They're not really here to be fighting. They're more here for an advisory role and kind of directing and overseeing things. If the God Knights kind of get handled by just Luffy and Zoro, maybe Sanji and Jinbei I'll throw in there as a toss-up, it's looking kind of bad for those Celestial Dragons. Because we're talking about, the purpose of this story is to have the entire world unite against the world government. If y'all can't defeat 4 members of the Straw Hats, whether it's 3 of you or not, I don't expect you guys to be able to contend with armies spanning the entire world, even with the help of the Marines. Akainu, Green Bull, and all of them can only do but so much. If y'all with these mythical zones, this teleporting, all this knowledge, all these crazy devil fruits, if y'all can't handle the Straw Hats, while they're also having to defend kids and villages, and dealing with Loki at goddamn the same time. So it'll very greatly depend on how Oda does it.
With that said, counter argument, what would it look like for the Straw Hats if only 2 members of the God Knights are here and they completely beat the entire Straw Hat crew?
Makes sense.
Hadruddin and his crew and Loki beat them all. And then what's the expectation? How are they going to beat 13 of them?
Let's train.
They got
it's time to train. So, and we've been saying that, Riddell. I'm confident in Luffy. I'm confident in Zoro. I'm confident in Sanji. After that, I'm not confident. Jinbei, no. Robin, no. Usopp, no. Frankie, Brooke, Chopper. I am not. Usopp, hell no. I'm not confident in any of these people. I'm not confident. So it would make more sense to me that they lose than win. Luffy and Zoro can only carry but for so long. And then Loki, it's like the Zoro effect. Loki's already hurt. So I can only expect him to do but so much. He's already hurt.
It does potentially bode well that they could have some wild cards that can help. Like, for example, Law is kind of out of commission, and Kid is out of commission.
Kid coming back, man.
All right. Law, I still think Law is going to team up with Kobe at some point, so I don't see him helping with this situation. But eventually down the line, I can see a Law and Kobe potentially having to fight a God Knight. So that's potential wild cards in there. Other ones that could potentially make it interesting, because Luffy does have a whole fleet, so we got to pick some members from there, not including the Revolutionaries, because obviously Sabo and Dragon will be able to compete. Sure. Maybe Cavendish.
I am not moved.
Hey, Cavendish, when he went in that little, demon form,
Akuba's tough. I gotta see some hockey, bro.
Hey, there's some time. He probably learned a little thing or two. And Bartolomeo at hockey,
he's out of commission.
He is out of commission.
Shanks gave him that.
Do we think Bonnie's doing anything? Because her devil fruit is technically broken, even though she's technically a child.
Where is Bonnie? Did she not come with them?
I'm pretty sure she's there with them.
She's kind of been off screen a lot.
Or so, yeah, Vegapunk with doing something.
Yeah, I think she's with Vegapunk. They're trying to fix Kuma, right?
So yeah, they'll be important. They're still around. They'll be important for sure.
And if they bring back Kuma and Vegapunk, that'll be another added factor, especially Kuma. I just don't. My thing is, yeah, there definitely a lot of growing up to do, but I don't necessarily think the rest of the Straw Hats have to matter at this point in terms of fighting.
Usopp does. Usopp needs to matter at this point. Okay. We're over 1,000 chapters in. Usopp needs to matter in a fight. He's supposed to be a sniper.
My stocks are still high on Usopp dying.
Hey, I was there with you. If any Straw Hat were to die, it has to be Usopp.
But obviously in a heroic, brave way. Yeah, like it's gonna be an amazing moment. But yeah, I'm still high on him dying.
Softly, but here's my take on Usopp: kill him or buff him. Pick one. You gotta either kill him or buff him. That's my whole take. Like, pick one or the other, Oda. Because at this point, why is he there?
He's on his high, man. He's feeling good about himself. Hey, he hit what's her name? Sugar with the spicy ball in her mouth.
That was three arcs ago, bro.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Usopp really needs to lock in, because we saw Yasopp blow up an entire ship with a pistol, bro. There is levels to this, and Usopp ain't close to what his dad is. It's actually kind of insane.
It's insane. We're over 1,000 chapters in, bro. Give him something, please.
Oh man, I'm not high on that, but I just don't think he's gonna do.
Now, because I want to talk about Usopp in length, because they also did give him a lot in this chapter. I have a question for y'all. There was a lie that Usopp told early in the story about him lifting a 10,000-pound hammer. What was just introduced into the story?
Oh, a really big hammer, man.
And we do know from the past, in hindsight, all of Usopp's lies eventually do become true.
I didn't even think about that. Hey, Miles, you might need to do a video breaking down all of his lies that came true, because I did not even think about his lies coming true, to be honest.
Yeah, every single lie that he tells in the story so far has become true. There's not a single lie that he's told that hasn't become true yet.
I feel like I know how he's going to do it.
Do we see Usopp lifting up Loki's hammer?
I'm gonna tell you how it's probably gonna happen. You know that owl thing, that owl with the devil.
The library thing, yeah.
I think it's gonna be like a reverse situation.
Wow, Lonnie. Yes, I'm with you.
I see the vision too. I'm gonna be honest.
It's gonna happen. Like something's gonna happen in the library. Hammer's gonna come through. It's gonna be flies.
Usopp becoming a giant makes so much sense. It just works. It makes so much sense. And there had to be some way Gabon got that giant pregnant. I'm just saying there had to be some way he got her pregnant. So, hey, if he could do it, Usopp definitely could do it. I'm not gonna lie. Lonnie cooked there. Usopp
that was a good cook.
I'll clip that.
Or they could have it where like Frankie creates a huge machine for Usopp. But either or, I'm with that. Usopp to fight Gunko. There's no way in any version of One Piece that I say Usopp beating a God Knight 1v1. I'm not
this arc. Not this arc.
Not this arc for sure. Unless he gets to a magic crazy power boost.
He needs a Zenitsu moment where he just like finally just locks in.
Don't disrespect Zenitsu has so many locked in moments. That's not even close.
When he's asleep, I'm saying like last arc, like when he's like, "Yo, it's time. Like I gotta be him," and he just.
I'm just saying, Zenitsu has top tier moments that fight like high tiers and a lot.
When he's asleep, you know what I'm talking about.
I hear you,
like,
but
brought it all together because like Usopp has the skills. He's been had the skill for the last 1,000 chapters.
Does he have the skill?
Does he?
We see him do stuff. We do see him do stuff, but like, it's not enough. He never brings it all together. He needs to finally like have a moment where he brings it all together and he's just him.
You know who has this? Who has like not the skill but the cachet? Nami, because Zeus is crazy. Nami be doing more work than that boy Usopp. Boy, I don't know.
At least you see my thing with Nami and Usopp because they're kind of in the same boat. At least Nami tries before running away. Usopp won't even try. Like Nami will say, "Zeus, attack!" It won't do nothing. Usopp from the jump is just screaming and running. That's what gets me pissed off about him. He don't even try. And when he does try, it's always to maximum impact. You brought up the moment on Dressrosa. That was a key moment. Like Luffy, quote unquote, technically dies there. Like he turns into the toy soldier. Everybody forgets about him. Story's over. He clutched up. He got the job done. I just need more Usopp getting the job done moments. It doesn't even have to be him beating somebody 1v1. It doesn't have to be anything really crazy spectacular. Just get the job done. Be at the right place at the right time and make it happen. That's all I want from Usopp.
Yeah, facts. But I think Lonnie cooked with the idea of him turning into a giant and helping. That would be pretty dope to see. My stocks are not on Usopp, but I will be interested to see if he can pull that off. It's interesting to see what Straw Hats are getting moments in this arc so far. Like Frankie had the huge moment where he discovered the mural. Robin's obviously extremely important in terms of the history of the world. Usopp is talking his butt off with, being on Elbaf. Chopper hasn't really done anything yet. Brooke hasn't really been doing anything. Who am I missing?
Sanji's not doing anything.
It's Sanji just simping per usual. Yeah. I wonder if they're really going to be huge parts of this story moving forward. I'm unsure. I'm unsure about those the rest of them. But we'll see for sure.
Yeah, they put a lot of emphasis in this chapter about Usopp achieving his dream. I believe he's the first Straw Hat to achieve his dream. Really happy stuff from Usopp. He's just kind of belligerent and drunk, arguing with the Giants. He really does feel at home. I think it'll be dope to have a contrast with him facing loss in this chapter. Like, you achieve your dream. Now here's some loss to go on top of your dream. Elbaf has been an exciting ride. I don't have it better than Egghead just yet, but Oda's been cooking with these arcs.
No, he's
been cooking.
Ridiculous there. A ridiculous to her.
No, he's 100% been cooking. I'm curious to see what the next step is for the story, what the fights are gonna look like. I thought Akainu was supposed to appear in this chapter. People were talking about Akainu making moves or something.
Yeah, so I don't know. There was some early scans that came out. One of Dragon, one of Akainu. I'm not sure where people got those, but they weren't in the chapter. But there was one. There was one of Dragon. I can see if I can find them. Where Dragon's basically like, with all of the events happening in the world, and with the looming flood upon us, there's no time to wait. We must make a move. And then for Akainu, he's kind of just staring there, angry, like he always does. But it's kind of emphasizing the fact that these two polarizing figures are going to move. We know that they're rivals, so if one moves, the other is going to move. But we didn't get it this chapter, so I don't know where they got that from.
Yeah, that's kind of weird to me.
I saw one this week. I saw like a few times on a few different places of Emu calling Mihawk his son. So I was just like,
ooh, please God, no.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Let me be honest. That's
like, what?
Ooh.
That's so disturbing. Shadow Royal, Zoro is moving me as a leader, as a co-captain, a vice captain. He is putting Luffy in his place so much because Luffy, I don't know. Some people are gonna have different opinions, and in regards to that, and I would be able to hear what you got to say in terms of Luffy really never changes who he is, which is also attuned to his character. But do we need that moment where it's like, okay, Luffy, you got to take what we're doing seriously, other than like if it's an important fight, of course. But in terms of being like the king of the pirates and kind of having that kind of mindset of being the leader of the world, basically, because I get the hunch that Roger, when he was doing his thing, was a leader. Even though he was goofy at times, he was a leader. He took things seriously. He had everything thought. You didn't really get the sense from my perspective, from the limited knowledge we got, that the people around him are the ones kind of pushing things forward. He was the spearhead and everybody else was kind of falling in line. Whereas the Straw Hat crew, Luffy is the pillar, obviously, but the rest of the crew are huge factors in pushing things forward. So do we think Luffy's ever going to reach that point where he's like, seems like a leader to a serious leader at the very least?
I mean, to be fair, like we just saw like last chapter, a flashback of Rogers basically doing the same thing that Luffy's doing. So like I feel like they are similar, but I feel Luffy hasn't, like, besides Ace, he hasn't like really had, like, he's had the serious moments like where like things get serious and like, but he's goofy most of the time. But we still haven't really seen like where him being goofy cost him, which I feel like this is what's going to happen. And like this is going to give him that, oh, sometimes I need to take things seriously. So I feel like it has to happen at Elbaf, and if it doesn't, then it's probably not going to happen.
I'm not really on the boat with Luffy not being a serious captain. I think he makes questionable decisions at times, but I think that's just a part of the ride. I think his crew kind of understands that. I will say it has been refreshing this chapter to see Zoro kind of put him in his place, because I felt like he hasn't been questioned in a very long time, either because in the arcs prior to this, the Straw Hats were separated, or the sense of urgency was just too high for there to be enough lighthearted moments or decision-making moments to take place. So I do like how Zoro's put his foot down. Let me do some tests of my own. Let me make sure Loki is, Loki before I let you free him. But as far as like the leadership thing, I think Luffy has always been the leader. And we've kind of seen it, like, there was flashbacks during the Wano arc that showed us Roger was very much like Luffy, like in every way, shape, and form. During the Oda flashback, Roger charges right for Odin. Scopper was going to fight him. Rayleigh's going to fight him. He runs forward. He's like, I don't want you guys to get hurt. Let me fight him. And they're just that goofy, lighthearted type of person. But when they need to lock in, they're going to do it. So more serious? I don't know. But serious, I think Luffy's already there. I think on Egghead he was super serious, despite what people may think. I think at least in Gear 5, because he's laughing all the time, it doesn't seem like he's serious. But the stuff that he was doing, he was definitely taking that situation extremely seriously.
I think like during the Lucci fight though, like people were telling him to be more serious and he wasn't.
That's Lucci. That's different.
I'm just saying, like, because like everything else is going on, like Luffy lock in, and he's just like, I think we were talking about in the pod, like how he was kind of aloof about everything. But I do think I don't know if that's a part of Gear 5 necessarily, or I think it might enhance that part of him, the whole freedom part, like everything is what it is. But I just don't know if that's gonna eventually end up affecting like the main part of his character.
Yeah, what I'm really referring to is not necessarily because, like I said, I mean, there are a lot of moments when the situation requires it. He has to step it up and take on the big baddies, of course, and he takes that seriously. But in terms of the leadership style, what I'm referring to is being like the spearhead of like decisions and kind of knowing what's going on. And maybe that's just not Luffy's character. Like when it comes to Roger, I am imagining if there's an important like situation or lore base or historical event that he's able to piece things together and use his decision makings to push everything forward. Whereas Luffy is more of like a free, willing, free nature guy where, you know, sometimes, a lot of times, it will be like a Nami making the decisions based off what he wants to do. But he's not going to be piecing things together to kind of find out the solution to the mystery. That would be someone like Robin telling Luffy that. And it's just possible, especially with what the Straw Hat crew is, that he won't ever be that. But also, I would question like when he's like an adult, because Luffy's not like 30 or something years old. He's still relatively young. When he's an adult established, if he makes it to be an adult, by the way, you know, there's a question there. Will he be that guy that has that level of old man wisdom that he can pass on to the next generation? Or will he just be the goofy guy that just does whatever he wants and people follow him because of it? That's his nature. That's more like the question.
I think he's gonna stay goofy. I mean, look how far it's taken him, right? Yeah. I don't really think there's any like point in him switching his style when him being himself is gonna get him to be the Pirate King. As long as he kind of has that person to kind of strategize, because you said the Straw Hat crew, I kind of don't agree with you there. To me, it was Law. If they never meet Law, Luffy doesn't get to where he is now. Law developed the entire plan to take down Kaido. Like, no Law, no progress this far. I think Law's been an integral part of his story. So I will say, as long as Luffy does have someone in his camp that can somewhat devise a plan that actually makes sense, him being a free-willing guy won't ever hinder the crew.
Then I guess my follow-up question is, will Luffy ever be in a situation where he has to make a important world-breaking decision as the leader? Like, for example, like when Naruto went up against Nagito and he had to find out what pain meant. He had to find out what it means to be. And he was able to kind of come up with his own solution after everything that happened to him and convince Nagato to, you know, save the Leaf Village. So will he ever come across a situation like that where Luffy has to think really deeply about the world and make a decision, maybe by challenging either Blackbeard or Emu? Will that situation happen for Luffy?
I would say yeah, and I would say we've kind of already seen like a sprinkle of that with the whole Amazon Lily, Impel Down, Marineford arcs, where he was kind of on his own and kind of having to weigh things and decide how he wanted to proceed forward, which was going to jail willingly, helping to devise the plan to get out, going to Marineford trying to save Ace, and then how he decided to communicate with his crew when and where they would meet up. I feel like that's one of the understated moments in Luffy's career where I think that was genius. With the tattoo symbolizing Ace, with the 3-day 2Y with the X crossed out, because he knew only his crew would understand what he meant. So yeah, I do think that Luffy definitely does have that potential when it calls for it. The point is when is it going to call for it again? I think if I'm with Lonnie, if it doesn't happen this arc, I can't feasibly see when it could happen again, unless we get to Emu and everybody in his army or whatever loses or something like that. But no, I think Luffy got that dog in him. I think he could do it. I really do think he can.
All right, shout out Luffy. Did you find what you were looking for?
It's kind of just gone now. Yeah, it vanished. I must have been dreaming.
Also, shout out, I think Jaden, you actually said, what do we think about the theory about Gunko being a spy for the Revolutionary Army?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think so either. No way the God Knights just let a spy in.
I feel like they would know. And then I also feel like Dragon's not in the loop enough to have a whole God Knight spy. That's like a major key.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Has he had spies before? Like big time spies, and nothing off the top of my head comes to mind of like a big time spy. But I don't know. We'll see. And then Earl said Talk no Jutsu didn't make sense. Nagato bringing everyone back to life because Naruto related to him makes sense. Talk no Jutsu does not make sense. I don't think Nagato bringing everyone back to life because Naruto related to him made sense. That's why Oda would never do that, because it's not believable, honestly. I disagree. I think Naruto related to Nagato made a lot of sense. Sometimes you gotta, because Nagato wasn't inherently a bad person. He just thought that his vision of the world was the best way to save it. And Naruto provided him an alternative. And sometimes that's all it takes. An alternative mindset. Someone that you can believe in that will be able to achieve that peace that you wanted to do. And Naruto was able to provide that hope into Nagato. So I think it made sense. The people are not as complex as people may think, unless they're pure evil like Frieza. He ain't convincing Frieza. That's just not happening. Anything else from this chapter?
I think we're good. I'm trying to find. I can't find what I saw. I know I saw it.
Man, people throwing out fake scans. R.I.P. Man.
It was random Tuesday.
Shaking my head. Miles, have you seen read that Marshall King at all?
I read the first chapter. It's that's kind of heat.
It's something. Of course, it has a style that some people may or may not like, the Western type style. If you don't like Western cowboy movies, you ain't gonna like this manga. But I think there's something there. Sneakily enough, there's something there. I think they're doing some good stuff.
I need to see more before I'm like,
not moved yet.
Not yet. I need to see at least like 10 to 12 chapters. To be like,
have you read the 4th chapter?
Yeah.
You didn't like what they did at that 4th chapter?
It's not that I didn't like it. I'm just like, we saw it. We were all into Dear Enemy, and then it fell off. Like, it's too early. It's too early.
Fair. I'll say the one thing that this one has that Dear Enemy didn't is a recognizable name. The guy
who made Dr. Stone. Like, so like, I know he can make a story. I just don't know if everything will be like, will really hook an audience after a while, or if it'll just end up being meh.
Yeah, because I don't see many very popular Western type manga, that American Western manga.
Trigun.
Other than Trigun, and Trigun is, I had to add the whole alien aspect to it to make it interesting. To be fair, this one is not a normal Western because they got like super magnums that you can use that can destroy a continent. But yeah, those Western series don't typically do very well in Japan, I'm guessing. So I hear you. We'll see. We shall.
Remember, it depends on the Japanese audience. It doesn't care what we like.
Fact.
Damn. So
we done with Japan. And then Children X was cooking. Can't wait for the new chapter there. Anything else?
John Cena shocked the world, and we're still all recovering from that.
Yeah, I heard you wrestling fans are this is like peak wrestling now. John Cena heel.
Yeah, John Cena heels peak wrestling. It's like I made this comparison on a little video I made. This is low key in a different way equivalent to Luka Doncic getting traded to the Lakers.
What?
It really is.
It is groundbreaking in the wrestling sphere.
Has John Cena never been a heel before?
They thought about it once and they just said, "Nah, never mind." So
Babyface his entire career.
He's the face of Babyface. He's the face of good guy. All the Make-A-Wish things, all the charity events. He's the face of being a good guy, and then he just kicked Cody in the fucking nuts and beat his ass with a rollie.
And he's considered like the greatest of all time. So the greatest good guy of all time going bad, insane. And
that shit was on the news.
That
shit was on the news. They're like, John Cena just started.
Bro. I didn't think they would be able to make things as like mainstream as they did last year. Nah, this year might just be bigger than last year.
Yeah, the last biggest comparable heel turn was Hulk Hogan back in like the 70s or wherever, and he did it.
Facts.
But Hulk Hogan was like over by then, like not over, but like people were sick of Hulk Hogan. Like no one was sick of John Cena.
He was a heel in a different brand too, and then he came back to the WWE. So yeah, this is different. This is crazy. Shout out, man. Did you guys read the Bug Ego chapter, by the way?
Nah, I was gonna read it later today.
Yeah, I finally recovered. I'm doing all my catching up on stuff today. I got a lot of shows to watch. I gotta watch the Solo Leveling chapter. I don't know episode. It's the most disliked thing on Crunchyroll now. So I gotta understand why.
No,
that was an emotion. He felt.
It got people it got a lot of people in the feelings. People were like crying over it, stuff like that. So that's why they're disliking it. Like, yo, it's like a troll because it's like, yo.
Is it a troll?
Yeah, because they're like, yo, it didn't need to hurt this bad.
Oh, okay.
Because you read it, right?
No, I haven't seen it. Or read it. But my thing is, if this is a show you like, why troll by disliking it? Like, it's the most disliked thing on Crunchyroll.
It's like one of the most beautiful moments in the story, and like, I feel like it's like people just weren't expecting. Like, yo, this is supposed to be a battle. This is supposed to be like aura and battles. Why am I crying right now?
I'm trying to figure out what moment it could be because there's only like two characters that could elicit like a crazy moment from Sung off the top of my head, and I don't know if the story's there. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly they're kind of. I honestly, it's been a while at Recently Living, so that doesn't even.
His mom.
It's the stuff with his mom.
Oh, did she not? I felt like. I'm trying to remember. Did his dad show up yet?
Remember that? Why did he go through the Hell Tower thing in the first place? So he can get the elixir to wake her up.
Why did I think
the whole purpose of him going through the demon tower was to get that healing elixir that can like cure all illnesses?
Yeah, it's starting to click a bit.
And she was in that mana coma or whatever, and she's been asleep for 4 years.
Right. Oh, now I know what. Okay, I get it now. Everything's clicking. So I was like, no, she woke up.
Yeah, no, the episode's like a 10 out of 10, but like that's why this is like, yo, we're here for fights, we're here for aura, and now we all sad, now we're all emotional, now we want to hug
comments. These comments are telling a different story.
What are they saying?
There's people hating on it, and then there's people saying you guys are like emotionally stunted. But there's some people like, I came here for action. I want to see action. Solo leveling's been ass. I'm glad people have finally caught up.
See, this is why solo leveling is so popular because solo leveling
it gets a reaction.
It's supposed to be simple, and appealing to a very certain fan base. And those simple people just wanted aura, and that they got something that's not just pure aura. And it's like, no, it's not okay. We don't want that. That's crazy. That's a big moment. The reason why I was caught off guard was like I felt like she was there when Sung's dad showed up. I was like, oh, okay, now everything's clicking together. I remember the scene now.
It was a great scene. It was beautiful.
Do they have like the music and everything?
Everything, bro. Everything, like the crying, the hug. I was just like, bruh.
Okay, shout out, man. Hey, that's what you need to elicit a reaction. That's what you need. Shout out Solo Leveling, getting people in the fields, and it's cooking for people. People like it.
All those alpha males, just like drinking and eating creatine and protein bars. Saw that they couldn't handle it.
Man, when I read it, I don't remember me feeling like any type of way. I thought it was a cool moment. I felt I probably reacted a little bit more towards like what happened with Tanjiro and Nezuko at episode 1. Be honest,
I didn't really react either, but like they did it really well in the episode. Like I liked it. So.
Yeah, they're cooking with the production for Solo Leveling. They're doing
your manhwa.
Yeah, man. We'll see. Hopefully, the rest of them good. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think we're Gucci.
All right.
Last thing, because I don't talk about Tuesday. That villain in Invincible, his wife ain't shit, and we'll talk about it Tuesday. His wife ain't.
Yeah, Powerplex's wife.
Powerplex's wife. She's the real villain.
I mean, he's a.
I gotta watch it.
This is the thing.
Well,
you can understand why people are the way they are, but they're still fucking stupid. Like Powerplex is insane. He's an absolute stupid.
He's definitely at fault, but he was definitely not okay. And his wife ain't shit. With Miles, when you see it, just comment in the group chat whether we're right or not.
All right.
His wife ain't shit, bro.
She's that bad?
None of this would have happened. I won't say none of this, but this wouldn't have happened if she wasn't the way that she was, bro. She gassed it. Look, this is her fault. I'm sorry. Like
I'm locking in right after we leave this.
Nah, she's number one at fault.
She's number one.
She's number one for sure.
But between like her, Powerplex, and Invincible, I'm giving like 60 or like 55% to her, like 40 to Powerplex, and the rest of the Invincible. It's egregious.
Yeah. Also ended with a crazy cliffhanger too.
Oh.
Hey,
man. You're not ready for these next 2 episodes.
Yeah, I feel for my boy Mark, bro. I feel for my boy Mark. Well, we'll see. With that said, appreciate everybody. Y'all have a good one. Take care and peace.
Peace.